The following program contains the opinions of the host, guests, and call-in participants. These do not necessarily represent the views of this show's distributors or sponsors. This program may contain obscene, profane, or otherwise objectionable language. Viewer discretion is advised. Hey, howdy ho, everybody. Coming to you cordless. It's Monday night, November 17th, 2025. It's 1 minute after 9 p.m. on the East Coast of the United States, a minute after 6 on the West Coast, and here where I'm sitting in Northeast Minneapolis, it's 8:01 Central Time. I am Jim Peters, and welcome to another edition of Jim Peters at Night. This is episode number 294 if you're keeping score at home, and you should, because someday there'll be a test. I have no idea when that's going to be. Hope you had a good weekend. I did. It's getting colder here. We are known for our volatile weather here in Minneapolis, and November's the worst. We have no idea what's going to happen. Sometimes it's warm. Like Saturday, it was 66 degrees here. Today, I think the high was 40, I think. I'm not sure. And it's supposed to snow tomorrow. We'll see. But yeah, what happens before and during Thanksgiving week is always up in the air. Our guest tonight is Don Zorro, our old friend, intelligence operative and lover of women, as I like to call him. He's a fan favorite. You guys he comes on, you get a lot of likes on the social. And he won't disappoint today because we taped this afternoon. We do that now. We pretty much now require all our guests to tape in the afternoon, mostly for technical reasons. We don't understand. I'm not going to waste your time if we can't, for some reason, if the picture doesn't work or the sound doesn't work. And this is happening more and more often. Excuse me. And I don't know if that's because the intertube is getting more complex. I don't know what's going on here. But we've noticed this. So we tape all it's still a live show. I'm sitting here. It's 8:03 right now, and I'm sitting here in Minneapolis talking to you. And of course, this gets archived, and who am I fooling? The vast majority of people watch this on demand and not live, but I don't care. I'm good. We do it either way. So Don is here, and then we got a Jim Castor part 2, something about Hitler's genes, or I don't know, and Sidney Sweeney's genes, and it goes on and on. So the usual crap, So, but we got a full week here. Finally, we got a full week of shows, and we were all planned out. We know what's going on. I mean, it's taken us like a whole month to get to this point. I was sick. Kimberly was sick, and now we're finally kind of got the horse back on the track. We kind of tomorrow night. We got a double show tomorrow night. We got 2 guests. Michael Harrison is returning. He's the founding publisher of Talkers Magazine, the Bible of talk media in the United States, also a radio legend who invented the album-oriented rock format in the 1970s. He's going to be here. His band, he's a member of Gun Hill Road, which is the psychedelic rock band from the 1970s. And believe it or not, it's 50 years later, they're still running. They're still making albums. And they have a new single out. It's called Close My Ears. They have a very interesting niche right now. It's partly because of Michael's influence. They're used a lot as bumper music on talk radio stations, and they do a lot of issues-oriented music songs for that very reason. So they it almost sounds weird. They get played mostly on talk radio, but that's better than not getting played at all. And they get a lot of play on talk radio. So they have developed a very interesting niche for themselves. Michael has been on the show and via various previous incarnations of it, I think 7 or 8 times at this point. So he has been on it for a year, though, so we're looking forward to talking to him. And then our second guest tomorrow night is going to be Jarrett Knott, and he wrote 2 books they're both called a series, Tiny Blunders and Big Disasters. And this is, I love these books. I wanted to book this guy well before we got him on, and we've been trying for some time. These are books where small little things people did in history ended up having enormous consequences. So we're looking forward to talking to him. That should be a fun show. On Wednesday, Marcus Louth, his second appearance here. He's a UFO writer and researcher from the UK. He writes he's the editor of UFOinsight.com. He writes for Mysterious Universe. He writes for The Debrief. He writes for all sorts of publications on the UFO phenomenon. We're going to be talking to him because, that's a big deal with me. I'm always interested to see what's going on there. And Thursday, our old friend Tim Conaway, the former executive editor of Hustler magazine, will regale us of stories of dealing with naked women. He will do that. Monday, now next week, that's Thanksgiving week, but we're going to do a show on Monday because I missed too many shows because I was sick. We're going to do a Monday show, so at least we'll only be gone a week. So on Monday, our guest is going to be Dr. Gilda Carl. She's been back. This is her second appearance on the show. She wrote a book called Real Men Don't Go Woke. And she's a fascinating woman. Love talking to her. I'm sure I will love it again. I want to thank Brittany Shears, hairstylist to the stars from Minneapolis, for giving me a great haircut on Saturday. Thank you. And yeah, I'm just kind of dragging today. I don't know what's going on. I'm having a hard. I mean, I don't know about you. I'm not good waking up anyway. There's some days where I don't wake up at all. I just can't get my crap together. Today's one of those days, but we power through it and we get it done. We got the interview done this afternoon, and we're doing it right now live in front of you. But now, next is in 12 seconds, you're going to see Don Zorro. Here is our Don Zorro. Here we go. Joining us from an undisclosed location somewhere in the Western Hemisphere, it's our intelligence operative. Blah, 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 blah. I can't talk now.
I wanted to make a great entrance. Hey, Jim, how are you?
You're on your iPhone today, I take it, huh?
Yes. I decided to try something so I didn't have to put the headphones on.
Yeah.
And I also, if I pass out in the middle of this, it's just because I'm trying something different with the mask and it's cutting off all the circulation to my face. So if I start to droop, don't worry about it. That's I'll get over it.
Okay.
Just hit me like the side of a record player or something like that.
We pointed
record player.
Record
There's a word.
There's
a word people don't know. Record player.
That's right. Vinyl sales of vinyl records are way up again. I don't know if you know that.
Damn straight they are, because everybody is figuring out, just like in that movie with Nick Cage, The Rock, where he's explaining the difference between CDs and LPs to this young buck. He's first thing out of his mouth is, number one, they sound better. And he's right. It's a warmer sound. The CD quality is just, it's too harsh.
Well, I have to tell you, Don, I had a very famous recording engineer explain to me a few years ago that although that's true, the reason is because of the way they transferred records years ago from vinyl to CD. They were mixed for vinyl and they weren't mixed for CD. So when they transferred them, the sound was harsh. That's what he explained to me. So if you actually mix for CD, you end up with a cool sound. But that said, though, most DJs and clubs still use vinyl records because the bass reproduces way better on vinyl than it is on CD.
That's
right. No doubt about that. So I know
that's right.
Like you need me lecturing you about that, but it's like that's what's going on. So how are you doing?
Oh, so far so good. You were speaking of bass. You reminded me of something. There's a buddy of mine who's he's in the music business, as he has a friend who's a bass player. And this guy went to Germany on a tour. This is, by the way, a true story. I'm not making this one up.
All right.
And so this guy learned a certain amount of German, and as it always happens when somebody goes to a foreign country and they learn some of the language, they generally learn just enough to get into trouble.
Yeah, of
So this
course.
guy, he goes and he forgets to pack some black pants to go, for his performing outfit.
Uh-huh.
So he has to go shopping. So he finds this little shop and run by this old German woman, very old, in fact. And he, after she says, yeah, what do you want? In German, he says, haben Sie schwarze Herren Hoden? And the woman picks up a broom, starts screaming at him, like beating him. He goes out the door, he winds up going to the department store and he gets the black pants. And so he goes to the job and he starts talking to another American, and he says, "Listen, I had this experience today. What the hell did I say?" And he said, "Well, what did you say?" He said, "I said, haben Sie schwarze Herren Hoden?" And he goes, "No." He said, what did you want? Black pants? He says, yes. He says, well, you went in there and asked that lady for black testicles. So apparently the word is hosen, not hoden.
Oh my God.
So I don't know. I guess Helga was just fresh out. I don't know. She was not happy.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Helga reminds me of Hogan's Heroes. Bob Kane actually ended up marrying one of those women who played the secretary. There were two of them. I can't remember which one.
Smart man. They were cute.
Yeah, he married, and then there was all those. So I don't know how I'm getting off on tangent here, but it's kind of most of the cast of Hogan's Heroes were actually refugees from the war. Werner Kempler was actually Jewish. And
right.
he took the job with the express. I think it was actually in his contract that the German he played would never end up winning any situation.
Right. I actually got to know him.
No, I didn't know that. I mean,
I did. I actually got
orchestra conductor. I know that.
Yeah, I mean, I actually got to meet him. I mean, I can't talk about the circumstances under which I met him, but very interesting guy, very, very funny guy as well.
Yeah, seems like it. That's pretty cool.
You've been around. It was. Yeah. I've been around. I've met a lot of interesting people. Apparently his dad was a huge deal. Otto Klemperer.
Right.
His dad was a huge conductor back in the days of symphony orchestras and all that kind of music.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. So there you go.
Yeah. So our friend Larry Newman is kind of bedridden. Now I've explained this on the show before. He's pretty big. He's kind of like one of the original gangsters here.
That's right. Because he is a badass, he will
hold it. You
do the job and get back.
You broke up there a second. What did you say?
That's because I had a phone call coming in. But I'm saying because he is a badass, and Larry, you are, and I love you, man. You are my brother from another mother, and you know that. You're going to come through. It'll take a little while, but you'll come through with good graces.
Yeah, he is. And I was going to ask you if you had a joke, but I think you already told it.
Yeah, I think I already told it. That was for Larry. That's for Larry.
All right. And yes, Larry, you got to get better. I don't have to tell you that. You know that. I hope you're watching this. I'm going to let his wife know, that we're talking about him today. So, and the last I talked to her, she said he is improving. So that's good.
Yes.
That's good. Good. Now, there's something I've been meaning to ask you, and I was going to save it for this. You're Puerto Rican. I'm not making, blowing any secrets by saying that. Right. I've heard recently that the Democratic Party's been trying to make Puerto Rico the 51st state like for freaking forever.
For years, for
And
years.
so tell me about this,
Yeah.
Don. This is the part I understand.
Okay.
What I've just heard, read recently, is that like the last 13 times this has been put for a vote toward the Puerto Rican people, they've soundly rejected it. Like every time over 70%. They don't want
Right.
this. They don't want this
Right.
at all. So the question,
Well,
yeah,
go ahead.
why is the Democratic Party trying to shove this down their throat? Well, I mean, I know the reason they want to, but what are they? Aren't they just alienating these people?
They're trying to wear the people down, because in the same way that they wore down New York City, and they finally got themselves a dandy little socialist, they figure it's just a matter of time. Look, when you look at your email, is there ever a day where you don't get these spam emails from these companies who are trying to get a hold of you to buy this? Is there ever a day when you don't pick up your phone and there isn't some politician that you have already said no to countless times that is still trying to get your $50 or whatever? And so the Democrat Party is doing exactly the same thing. They figure that if they just keep rolling the same dice, eventually the lucky seven is going to come up at the right time. And so they know that even though the Puerto Ricans have voted this way, that if they keep doing it, because the numbers of the people that have been voting against it are getting smaller and smaller and smaller, that all they'd have to do is just keep encouraging these kinds of plebiscites that the folks are going to vote in. So I'm going to say it right now that probably within the next 4 to 5 years, Puerto Rico will probably become the 51st state. If I don't know who it is that has to provide. I don't know if it's something that Congress has to do, or the Senate here, or if they just do it by proxy, and get the Congress there to do it. I don't know what the process is like, other than they voting to say we want to be the next state. I don't know what the actual process is, but I'm going to predict now that within the next 4 to 5 years, they'll probably get a vote in Puerto Rico saying, by a preponderance. I don't know if there has to be a percentage, a large percentage, but by a preponderance, you're going to see that tip the other way, especially if Bad Bunny gets into the Super Bowl.
Are you serious about that?
Yes, I am. Yes, I'm dead serious. I'm dead serious. Now that Bad Bunny is going to be the Super Bowl entertainment, and because of his particular political stance, Puerto Ricans are very political, but they're political in the now they are political in the worst way. It's people who don't know a lot about the way things work here, and they vote very emotionally. Okay,
yeah.
They are very much mi patria kind of place, and if Bad Bunny makes some sort of really huge good showing at the Super Bowl, I promise you that's all it's going to take for the people there to want to decide they're going to be 51st state. They have everything to gain. This has all been a pride thing before, but they have everything to gain, because you think they're a welfare state now? Wait until they become an actual state. Yeah, that's
okay.
the issue.
So I'm reading this article, and the guy writing this article said that people in the U.S. don't realize this, but for Puerto Rico, this would be a disaster, because culturally, Puerto Rico and America have nothing in common. Is that true?
No, yes and no. I mean, culturally, yeah, there are ways that we look at life that only a certain segment of America might, but Puerto Rico has become so incredibly West Americanized. It's become very Americanized. People don't cook at home as much as they used to. All
Uh-huh.
those recipes and traditions, they've gone. And when I say they've gone, I mean I'm speaking just in large general terms.
Of course you are.
So the whole mi patria thing to me rings very, very shallow, because the things that are very important about being Puerto Rican, they don't, it just doesn't matter anymore. It just doesn't really seem to be to matter. What matters to them is when somebody accomplishes something, if they happen to be Puerto Rican, even if that thing they accomplish is not necessarily a good thing, but there's just like, he's Puerto Rican. Ah, okay, let's go.
Uh-huh.
You know,
Yeah.
and so it's discouraging to me. But
I'm embarrassed to tell you this for somebody who spent most of his life in the entertainment business. When they announced this thing about Bad Bunny at the Super Bowl, not only have I never heard any of Bad Bunny's music, I'd actually never even heard of him.
me
This-
either.
oh, you
Me
haven't
either. I'd
either?
never heard, but nope. This is the first that I knew anything about him. And some people that I've talked to, some younger folks, they say, no, check him out. It's good. It's actually really good. But if you want to present a certain image, it's hard for me to get past that image in order that'll make me want to listen to your art, whatever it is, whether it's an instrumentalist or vocalist. So sorry, Jim, I'm in
It's
the
all right.
basement today and a little dusty, I guess, down here. But anyway, so
That reminds me, I was reading about my favorite columnist on Breitbart, John Nolte, who talks a lot about movies, and he kind of has a part-time gig reviewing them. And he mentioned today, he wrote a column about the fact that the last 25 major motion pictures released by the Hollywood studios, all 25 of them have bombed, all of them.
yeah.
And he mentioned that the Variety and Hollywood Reporter do articles about this, and he says the problem they keep going around the problem is that these movies suck.
Yeah. I mean, it's either science fiction, stuff, superhero stuff, and I love that, but not everybody does, or it's some sort of really objectionable kind of comedy, or it's some gay themed morality play, or it's just stuff that nobody's real interested in.
Right.
Give me a good solid story. Give me like a great detective story or something.
Yeah, he brought up
So,
the thing about Sydney Sweeney in this movie, Christie. Now, first of
yeah.
all, I had never heard of this woman. I mean, it's based on a real life story, and I think last name is Christy Davis, if I'm right. She was
Okay.
a female mixed martial arts boxer, So he brought up the fact, well, first of all, you're taking Sydney Sweeney, one of the most sexually desirable women on the scene right now, and you're ugling her up because she plays a boxer who discovers during the course of her career that she's a lesbian, and then
Oh, see what? Okay.
right, no one
Go.
cares. First of all, I don't know you. I never heard of this woman before, so I've never heard of her. And then the second thing, am I interested in a story about a woman who discovers she's a lesbian, especially if it's Sydney Sweeney and they're going to ugly her all up? No, I'm not. I want to see
Yeah.
Sydney Sweeney's boobs.
You see, I was interested in seeing the movie because I just the whole mixed martial arts kind of stuff, that part interests me.
Yeah.
But see, no, Hollywood couldn't leave it at that. They couldn't make
have
like
you
a
seen the movie?
Rocky. They
Have
couldn't
you
do a
seen it?
Rocky for girls. You know what I mean? Whatever. Like they couldn't do a Rocky version of female version of
Right.
Rocky or
Right.
whatever. It had to have this angle. It's like, believe it or don't, and I know a lot of these female boxers, they're not all lesbians. So why use this one as the representative? It's God.
Don, have you seen the movie? Did you see it?
No. And now I'm probably not going to see it.
I hope I didn't dissuade you because I know you have an interest in martial
No,
arts.
you did dissuade me. You're very dissuasive.
Yeah, me and the facts, man. Yeah, yeah. So I thought I'd
Hey Jim, hey, hang on. I
yeah,
want you to cut. I want you to cut here for just a second because I
yeah.
really got to go blow my nose. This is
No,
driving
that's
me
fine.
nuts.
You go right ahead. You go
I'll be
right ahead.
right back.
I'm gonna fill. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Let me see. What should I fill here with? Oh, we can talk about that. Where are we going to talk about here in the next few minutes? We can talk about the Epstein files. I want to talk about SNAP. About the fact, here's an interesting statistic: 186,000 people in America are receiving SNAP benefits who are dead. What? Another 500,000 people are getting 2 checks, not 1 but 2. All right, that's fine. Okay, so I'm previewing here. I'm going to preview. So the CEO of Ford is looking to fill 5,000 mechanics jobs. Each one of them pays over 6 figures, and he can't find the people to do it. That's interesting. Uh, the Gulf Stream in the Gulf of America is on the verge of collapse, which might actually lead to an ice age. I did some previewing here about stuff I want to talk to you about.
Okay. Okay, good. I
Are
blew my nose.
you feeling a little better?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Good. You got some water there too? I hope you do.
No, no, no. I'm a tough bastard.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, okay. So this is what I pulled here. I found this kind of interesting. What's her name? Brooke Rollins is trying to redo the SNAP program for the United States, and
Okay.
she says that 186,000 people who are getting SNAP benefits are also dead, and another 500,000 of them are getting 2 checks, not 1 but 2.
Okay, so we have a new diet. Apparently.
All righty.
Oh man. The governor here in Minnesota, he actually had the temerity to mention that. I'm trying to remember the number. I think I've got it right. But he was saying how 447,000 people are going to be denied this or that. And I was saying, wait, stop. Are you telling me that in a state that has 6 million people, 6 million, that about 500,000 of them are on some sort of SNAP benefits? These people are going hungry in your state. That many people, if it were 44,000, okay, I can accept that as a number of people that are truly hungry,
Yeah.
But you're saying 10 times that number. All right, there's a different issue that you need to deal with as a leader, Mr. Governor. If that's the case, then someone's really not doing their job.
Oh, the whole thing's rife with corruption, Don. I don't
Oh,
have to tell you that.
absolutely.
And
What was the name of that fraud thing? The something for food. What is it? Whatever it
I
was.
think it was
With
called
the
Feed Our
Somali.
Future or something like that.
Feed Our Future. That whole fraud thing. Unbelievable to me
Yeah.
that they're still on this horse.
Yeah. I know. But the problem is, like you said, there are a small number of people who are truly needy and will go hungry, but they're the minority of the people getting the money. And that's
Exactly.
the problem. So supposedly now, what Brooke Rollins was, they're going to start over. Everyone's going to have to reapply for their SNAP benefits because now
Okay.
they're going to vet people.
All
So
right.
I
So
guess
maybe I'll get my 44,000 instead.
yeah, maybe you will. And
Yeah.
and your check.
Yeah. Yes. Finally.
Hey, Don, what do you think of this whole thing with the Epstein files? Now, this is getting kind of goofy and
I
ridiculous.
have just hated this thing from the beginning. Okay, the guy was a pig, but he was a pig that had friends at first. And the lists of the folks that have been down there for whatever those parties were about initially, I think they were just all ways of him feeding his own ego by inviting all these famous people and making it an event that was so big that they didn't want to miss it. So he got everybody to go down there, including Trump, including Whoopi Goldberg, including Demi Moore. It was like a place to be. It was the Club 54 I'm not even going to say of perversion. It was just an excuse to get out of Dodge and go someplace and have fun in the where the hell did they go? Was it in the Caribbean somewhere? Is
Yeah,
that
it's
what
in
it
the
was?
Caribbean somewhere. Yeah, I can't
Yeah,
remember.
so somewhere in the Caribbean, and I can see that because celebrities love to be around each other because they're the other ones that they're the only ones that'll you know be able to they'll be able to relate to because God knows they don't relate to us
Yeah.
as just normal human beings. So they want to be around each other. And they want to be served all this stuff, and they want the fancy food. They want to take pictures with all the other people. And now, that's one aspect of it. Was he a dirty pedo? Yes, more than likely. And he got this hot Ghislaine Maxwell to kind of be his little procurer. So she's scum, right? So if you have that many people operating at once, you're going to have a certain level of scum.
Yeah.
And he was it, but it doesn't mean that everybody else involved that was just there for the good time that wasn't involved in that crap. This is other room kind of stuff. It's like there was that room now.
Uh-huh.
The question everybody asks is, well, did the people that go, did they know what was going on in the other room? Or were they really, you know, uh, not aware of the other stuff? I think that more than likely the vast majority of them were not aware of what was going on because I have to believe that Epstein was smart enough to keep that stuff. Why would he want people to know? Why?
Well,
There's
there's
no reason.
the alternate theory, Don, and that is that he was actually involved with some psyop somewhere with either the CIA or Mossad, and he was actually blackmailing these people. Do you
No,
buy any of that?
no.
Okay.
In general, most conspiracy stuff, I just don't buy. Just surely because of the number of people that you would need to hush up to be to
Yeah.
be quiet about this. It's just too difficult. This would have been exposed decades ago had that been the case. So no, I don't believe any of that stuff. People who want to believe it, fine. I don't.
There's a part of this I do believe because I think it's kind of expedient, and that is that supposedly Bill Clinton made 26 trips down there, but from what I understand, he wasn't going down there for the girls. He was actually chasing Ghislaine Maxwell's ass personally. It's like they were hooking up. He was hooking
I
up with her.
so
I
I can
believe
see
that
that.
totally. Right.
Look, she's cute.
Yeah, she is.
I don't care. I mean,
And
Epstein may be a lot of things, but he's got good taste.
right.
So
Yeah, I know.
he's
And the
not.
thing is, I don't know why I think this, but just because I think on some level I can relate to Clinton, I don't think he's interested in underage women either. I don't think he is. You know,
No,
no, I mean
no, no. I just, yeah.
the dirty little secret about being a man is that not all guys like that sort of stuff. So
Right,
you know,
right,
I don't know.
right, right.
I don't know. He never struck me as the type of guy who'd like that. So I can see totally they'd be chasing after her. You know,
Yeah, yeah. That makes more sense than anything in the world. I could see that now.
well,
How he explains this to Hillary, don't ask me.
no,
I
that
mean, honestly, oh, yeah, I think I'm going to go down there to the islands again. And why? Why do you have to go again? Well, the cigars that they get, you can only get them in down the island. And why do you need so many cigars? I mean, I'll leave him to explain all that stuff. But
I just read just yesterday that supposedly JFK, before he banned the embargo on Cuba, just before that, he personally ordered 12,000 Cuban cigars. 12,000.
smart, man. You see, these guys are smarter than we give them credit for. I mean, I would have done the same thing. Well, we got to close up the Cuba, but before we do, but I need you to make a couple of phone calls, Bobby.
That's right.
So,
He smoked like 5 a day. I didn't know that. It's like he was like,
damn.
yeah, he was
Okay.
a really, really passionate cigar smoker.
But you never see any photos. You never see any photos
No,
with
what?
smoked
That's true.
cigars.
He doesn't. He
So,
didn't want anyone to know what he's smoking. He didn't want it.
okay. All right, fine.
One more thing on the story, which I found really interesting. So I've had a guy on my show a couple of times named Nils Gravelius. He's a private investigator in Los Angeles, a really, really interesting man. And he said, I was talking to him learning about this. He says he has a theory about this thing about Epstein killing himself. You know, people say, well, no, he was murdered. He was murdered. And Ravelli says, no, it was assisted suicide. In other words, now this is actually true. I don't know if you know this. About 3-4 days before he was found dead, they pulled his cellmate out of that cell, and his cellmate was a serial killer. And he thinks that the powers that be went to his cellmate and said, well, tell Jeffrey this, and that is, if he doesn't kill himself by such and such a date, we're going to do it for him, and it's going to be way, way more unpleasant.
Okay, you see, now that's the kind of conspiracy theory that I like.
Right,
That
right.
it makes sense.
Right, it
Total
does make
sense,
sense.
and you can see everything is there for it to happen, as
Right.
opposed to most conspiracies where people have to invent things out of whole cloth to make it go. But that's a good one. I'm
That's
going to
what I
repeat
thought
that
too.
one.
That's what I thought too. I thought that's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Because you're absolutely right. I mean, the cameras failed, everybody fell asleep, la di da di da. So, but he actually did kill himself. So they can actually say, no, we didn't murder him, you know?
Yeah, I see. I believe in the incompetence of people that work, you know, in these jails. I just have a great belief in the fact that there is so much incompetence in so many avenues of our daily life that for all of these things to have happened, you got me. I totally believe them.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. So speaking of incompetence, then there's this thing now that's come out just today, and our friend David Strom at Hot Air wrote about this, about Thomas Crooks, the guy who shot at Trump,
Yes.
Boulder, Pennsylvania. It turns very little has been known about this guy up to this point, but it turns
Yeah.
out he did have a social media footprint, and it was pretty weird. I don't know if you've heard about this or.
No, I don't. You know, I kind of lost interest in that because there was so little that was coming out that I just got tired of doing any digging. So they found out a little bit more about his social media presence.
Yes, they have, and he was basically, as you might imagine, a very confused, messed up individual. He apparently had some transgender issues. He did.
Oh, there's a surprise.
Yeah. Isn't this
Yeah.
unbelievable? There's so few transgender people in the populace, and they seem to be responsible for like half of these murders, these killings.
Yeah, let me tell you a secret.
Yeah, okay.
They're fucking crazy. They are nuts. This is how crazy they are. Now, this one's going to really throw you for a loop. These are men that dress up in women's clothes in public.
Oh,
Swear to God, that's what they do.
Oh God. Now, I'm going down the conspiracy rabbit hole all the time, and it occurred to me that maybe this guy was recruited by somebody. I don't know. He's the type of person that would, it's like, you can be famous and do your country a great favor if you try to kill this Trump guy, But I don't know if they haven't found anything like that. But
well, once again, he was fucking crazy. Crazy people, you know what they do? Crazy shit.
Oh God! Oh my God! I know. I know there's a reason I bring you on, Don. I know. I know there is. I know there is.
You know that my rapier is about cutting for quality. I cut through. It's about clarity.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, so I'm moving on here. Here's another thing. The CEO of Ford, Jim Farley, and I don't know if you know this. He was Chris Farley's cousin. I don't know if you know that.
Oh no, I didn't know that.
He was, yeah. So he says that in Dearborn at the Ford plants, they have an openings for 5,000 car mechanics, and each one of these jobs pays over 6 figures, and they can't fill them because they can't find enough skilled people to do it.
Okay, that's insane. I mean, even Zorro doesn't have an explanation for that, other than this is what happens when you don't have a shop in schools anymore. This
Yeah.
is what happens when you don't develop an interest in young people, young men, young women, I don't care, in what makes things go. This is the
Uh-huh.
problem. Everybody, okay, so we're on this smartphone. Jim, you can do unbelievable things on this smartphone. You don't have to be a computer tech or anything. Take something as simple as just being on an old rotary phone. Okay. You can go zit, 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 or you can go ding, 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 and you're suddenly talking to somebody on the other side of the world. Gone are the days where we are so involved in the stuff that we use that where the technology is just going up and up and up and up and up. It's past the point where we can figure it out anyway. Therefore, we have lost interest. So it doesn't surprise me at all that they cannot find people that think that this might be a cool thing to devote your life to doing, to be able to fix cars and do all of this incredibly cool stuff.
Yeah.
So no, I guess I'm really not that surprised.
And then conversely, we're turning out thousands of college graduates who actually can't do anything. And I'm not the only person who has subscribed to this about the fact that that's one of the reasons socialism is rising in the country is because of, you okay?
No, this is go on. Please
It's
finish
because
that
of
thought.
the resentment of these young people, the fact they can't find work. They're
Yeah,
quote unquote educated, but they can't find any work.
right. They're expecting the work to be told, okay. They're expecting the following. They're expecting to graduate from college and then somebody say, okay, Joe Blow, here's what you're going to do.
Yeah.
They don't realize that it doesn't work that way. That it's like, okay, what am I going to do? And usually they ask themselves after, issuing 500 fries from from McDonald's. That's when they decide to go, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
And they realize that that's kind of where they are, that nobody cares about the 17th century poetry from Belgium at that point that they've learned all about. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. And so when you've devoted 4, 5, 6 years of your life to studying something nobody cares about, you're going to be depressed, which is another reason these people are so depressed.
Yeah.
And that depression then manifests itself in easy stuff like, wearing dresses when they're
Right.
actually male.
Yeah.
So
You're really right on that, Don. I had a guy named Edward Bartlett on the show here like a couple of weeks ago, and he was talking about the fact that it's like, and these are common or well-known statistics that depression among young single women is way up
right,
from compared to like 5 or 10 years ago, and
right.
yeah. And so is it any wonder that they're over at the protest, screaming in ISIS face?
Exactly. When in doubt, blame somebody else for your problems. Because that's the way it goes. That's worked for me for years.
Yeah.
I can't get a mask that fits properly. I get the wrong kind of hat. And you know whose fault it is? It's yours for making me do this.
That's right. It is. It's my fault. I know that. I know. I know. But you bring up a point though about the fact that I don't think that our generation was raised to think that way. And now I don't know if
No.
it's out of default or if these kids are actually raised to think this. I mean, here's another example. And this is not a kid's generation. Michelle Obama, about the fact that she's going on these podcasts, she's going on and on and on about how freaking oppressed she is. And needless to say, she's one of the richest and one of the most famous people on earth. And so,
Right.
how can she complain? Really, what is
Which is why nobody watches the podcast.
that's
I don't
true.
know what her viewership is. I haven't seen it. Have you?
No, I won't watch it.
Even out of professional
No,
curiosity.
I won't do it.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, why? We're so tired of this, of indulging these people who have so much when the rest of us have, relatively speaking, quite a bit less.
Yeah.
We're tired of feeding their nonsense and their egos. Who wants it anymore? So just give me the opportunity to make a decent living, or to retire in some kind of peace. I want peaceful coexistence. And if you want peace, well, you're sure as hell not going to hang with these folks, because they're just going to take you right along with them. They're going to make you depressed as right along with them, because misery loves company.
Yeah.
And there's nothing more that communism loves more than misery, and to spread it out amongst a lot of other people. That's why you're getting so many of these poor young folks. They don't realize they won't listen to us, and so we just say, well, all right, good luck.
You were
Good
talking
luck.
about before about like Puerto Rico, and you actually mentioned just offhand. I was going to bring that up about the fact that that they dragged New York City into this, but they didn't really drag it. I mean, this guy, he got a lot of votes. I mean, there's a lot of people, and mostly people under 30 in New York City. Because they're broke and they're tired of paying rent. They're tired of
Yeah,
it. And they seem to
yeah.
think, how do you tell somebody 28 that there's no free ride? It doesn't happen.
No, not by that point. If you don't get them when they're young, then that, yeah, I think you're stuck with a bunch of people that eventually have to figure it out, and they're going to go through about 10 years worth of misery, I'm afraid. Whether it's during this guy's administration, which of course he will get voted twice. This. He's got this, and if he got this first one, he's going to get a second term.
Yeah.
And it'll only be after that they'll start looking for something else, and it's going to be a very bad time, and then the sun will come out tomorrow.
I've never asked you point blank. You're a native New Yorker. How much damage do you think he's going to do? You think he can do a lot of this stuff or not?
Well, he's not going to be able to do a lot of the things that he wants, but that's the issue. See, is that he's not going to be able to do it, and so people are going to get angry. So the crime and all that stuff is going to be very bad. These people acting out in a social way, that's going to be very unpleasant. I'm not looking forward to going to New York anytime soon. Just the city of my birth and all that stuff. But no, I really don't have any interest in going there.
Yeah.
So it's just going to have to sit there mired in its own cod swallop. What the hell is cod swallop? But anyway,
I have the feeling that he's not going to be able to do much of anything. Well, first of all, I don't think he's personally capable of it. I mean, very few people are good at manipulating the government bureaucracy, and he doesn't seem to have any talent for doing anything other than.
Well, it's interesting.
He ran a good campaign.
Trump's talking to him.
Yeah,
he's going to get together with. I don't know what the hell they're going to talk about. I mean, Trump has a vested interest in seeing that New York maintains itself, because he's got a lot of property there, and he's got the tower, and he's got all this other stuff. So he doesn't want to see the city fail, because if it fails, then he's going to fail financially, or segments of what he's doing right now is going to fail financially. So
have you been there recently, like in the last 3-4 years?
No,
I haven't either.
No,
but I've heard it's gotten really bad. I mean, it's like there's feces all over the sidewalks, and people, and a lot of the restaurants have closed.
The worst thing that I hear is that you cannot get away from the pot smell. And that's one reason alone that I don't feel like I'd want to go there, because if I had to smell weed every freaking place that I go,
yeah. I noticed. I think I was there about 10 years ago, and even then I noticed that. That was pervasive even then.
Yeah. So I mean, it's like Minneapolis downtown. But New York has been there for, like you say, it's been there for a good 5-6 years.
This is really terrible, Don. I mean, our studio here is right across the river from downtown, and yet I hardly ever go there. I don't have any real reason to go there. I don't want to. It's like I just don't go.
That's where I made my living, and I haven't been. I lie. I have been downtown recently. It was during kind of off times, and I didn't have more than a block to go. But even then, I could smell the weed. Eh, it's just like life's too short. I don't know. I don't feel like dealing with stuff that I don't have to deal with.
Yeah. Well, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Have you heard about this thing about, there's this climate summit in Brazil. Have you heard about this?
I don't know, but it does sound like the beginning of a joke, doesn't it? The climate summit in Brazil.
It does.
Everybody went there and got a suntan, and the next day it snowed. And
Well, here's the joke, and I'm not kidding about this. So it's a climate change summit. They tore down 100,000 trees, a whole swath of this rainforest to make room for all the cars and planes that people brought to the. So now,
and that, go
yeah.
ahead.
And so what happened was that the indigenous people of this forest, they got pissed off, and so they came to town. I can't remember what town this is in Brazil, and they're protesting because they cut down their rainforest, and yet the whole thing's, it's like you couldn't come up with a bigger comedy of errors. I mean, what are these people thinking? It's unbelievable.
But see, this is what Brazil has been doing for the longest time. If anybody's surprised by I mean, really, why would you hold the sun? Well, I guess now that I think of it, it's kind of an ideal place to show the absurdity of it all. That's
Yeah.
probably I don't know if that's the reason they did it. That's just kind of the irony behind the way things work. It's kind of like why don't they just go ahead and elect Greta Thunberg president and just call it a day already? Because that's kind of where we are as far as any kind of mentality and any ability to think logically and with I guess if they ever decided to think about everything, every sentence would end with like, wait, what the hell? Did
Well,
you actually just suggest this?
there is no logic to this at all. None.
No,
I
no.
mean, I've
Zero.
got one of my things, one of the few things on my high horse here on the show is like I've been going on about the fact there's no scientific basis for human caused climate change. There isn't. Now the world's warming up, but humans don't have anything to do with it.
What did I say earlier? This is, you're always looking for someone to blame.
Yeah.
When stuff happens. Have you been checking out the eruptions at Kilauea recently?
No, I don't actually know what you're talking about.
God, the since like the summer, Kilauea has just been going crazy. You know what comes out of volcanoes when they erupt and they have plumes that are like 1,000 feet in the air? You get a hell of a lot of smoke, and then also, we had these beautiful aurora borealis things. You know what caused a lot of that, right? Solar flares.
Yeah.
What else? You know what else solar flares cause? They cause warming.
Yeah.
So we're gonna see warm, and people are gonna continue to blame it on my car.
That's right.
So,
that's right. No, that's exactly what's going to happen. Then that's exactly what the problem is. The problem is the sun.
Do you want to know why? Do you want to know why?
Yeah, they do that.
They're fucking crazy. So there you go.
So now the big deal is supposedly the Gulf Stream and the Gulf of America, quote unquote Gulf of America, is apparently collapsing. And they think if that collapsing, we're going to have basically another ice age. So all this stuff about global warming is complete utter bullshit. You can't make this crap up. You
really can't. You really can't. This is hilarious.
Unbelievable. And I have something here. I'm going to show you because I thought you might be interested in this because I kind of know what your interests are. So there's a woman in Britain, and I follow the British tabloids because they're so damn entertaining. And I don't know what you can see on your iPhone here. I don't really know. but so I'm going to
Okay.
put her on the screen here. She's got size P boobs. It's like you go from A, for ABC, her,
Yeah.
and she makes a living off of OnlyFans, basically showing her boobies, and she's complaining about the fact that when she takes her kids to school, she gets dirty looks from all the
No,
parents. Yeah, I know
no,
that's her complaint. I
that's
thought
her complaint.
I thought you'd
Although
find
she has OnlyFans.
yeah, she
God,
has.
when you showed me that, you like knocked my glasses off. Like, the only sound I heard was
Yeah.
I just well, God bless her. What can I say? She's been gifted beyond the imagination, and those are real, huh?
Yeah, I guess they are. I guess they are real. Yeah.
Oh, you guess they are. Well,
Yeah, I don't.
I thought you were an investigative journalist. What
No,
exactly are you going
I
to
am
do
not a
to kind of
journalist. Don,
find out?
you're not a journalist, man.
Get well. Well, can you make me one? I'd like to find out.
You need to get up close and personal for that.
Huh. Good. I'll just need to see a run. That's all, and I would be able to tell you.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Don, it's always great talking to you. You know that.
Yeah,
I
ditto,
love you.
ditto. I have a lot of fun with this. And Larry, this is your final warning. You get well, buddy. We love you.
That's true. That's true, Larry. You do. You do. All right, Donnie. We'll talk to you soon. You know that, right?
Yes, absolutely. We'll see you
Take
next
care of
time.
yourself. Yeah. Our thanks to Don Zorro there. Always entertaining. He's a fan favorite. He always get a lot of likes on social media when he comes on for good reason. Him and I go back. There's about 4 guys here that go back with me for years doing this. Always come on. We used to do panel shows. We don't do them anymore. Too much going on now. Also, hard to get the panels together. It just is. But at any rate, this is part 2 of the show. It's a Gymcast for November 17th. That's where I talk about the stuff that you don't hear about everywhere. And I hate to start out with this. I hate because you do hear about this all over the place. The Epstein thing. All right. And here's the reason I'm bringing it up. I'm watching the news this weekend. So on Thursday or Friday, some committee in Congress released 20,000 emails from and to Jeffrey Epstein to a bunch of different people. Most of them were to Ghislaine Maxwell. That's the impression I'm under, the majority of them. Anyway, 20,000 of them. In that stack of 20,000, there were exactly 3 emails that mentioned Trump. And wouldn't you know, the legacy media went nuts. That's all they could talk about. And the real terrible thing is they selectively edited one of the emails to make him look way more guilty than he is. He's not guilty at all. So the one they edited is one where Ghislaine is telling Jeffrey that Trump is aware of what they're doing. But this is the part that the media left out. She also says in the same email, in the next sentence, she says, and he's told me he wants me to stop. That is trafficking the young women. Trump told them, he said, I know what you're doing and I want you to stop. But the media didn't mention the second part of the second sentence. They didn't mention that. Now, Maxwell's gone on the record saying that she knows of nothing that Trump did that is wrong. Of course, the thing is, you have to understand she has a vested interest in saying that because she wants to get pardoned. So I don't hold a lot of credence in that. But Virginia Guilford, this woman who just killed herself, who was one of the victims, she's gone on the record many times and in her book saying that Trump did absolutely nothing wrong, that he was just a gentleman every time she dealt with him. and she didn't deal with him. In other words, in any sort of sexual aspect. So they're trying to make a mountain out of a molehill. And when I mean they, I don't actually mean the Democrats. The problem here, and I've said this before, I'm not the only person that thinks this. The problem is not the Democratic Party or the Republican Party. The problem is not the politicians. The problem is the press. The press in this country is gone, as they've decided they're justice warriors, and they've been lying to you through their teeth for at least 10 years, if not longer, about all sorts of stuff. And I just don't believe it. I mean, this is so, because the thing is now it's gotten so transparently obvious that they're lying, and they got to stop. This is just bullshit. I mean, this thing I just told you is a perfect example. Second sentence, first sentence, she says, he knows what we're doing. Second sentence, and he told me he wants us to stop. They didn't announce that. It's like, shit. Just unbelievable. I had to bring that up again. I know Don and I talked about it, I know, but still, it's like this is just really, really a decrepit behavior on the part of people get paid a lot of money to tell you the news. And I know why they do it, and they know why they do it. It's because people who are like quote unquote low information news consumers, they buy it. That's the reason. They will convince a certain number of people of this. So then I and me and people like me have to get on the horn and completely counteract everything they say, And yes, my viewership is not as high as ABC News Now. It isn't. So yeah. Anyway, there's that. All right. We talk a lot about science on this program, and one of the things. Quantum physics is rearing its ugly head in every aspect of life, it seems. And so there's a problem with the current physics model of the universe, and that is there's giant holes in it. And when I mean holes, I mean there's gaps in the theory they can't mathematically figure out. One of the things they've used is to plug a giant hole, something called dark matter, which no one's ever seen and no one's ever measured, or at least never observed. According to the theories and the math, about 70% of the universe is made up of something called dark matter, which no one has ever observed, no one has ever seen. It's just almost a stopgap measure for the fact that they can't figure out what's going on, so they fill in the formula with this thing that no one has observed, and apparently has a lot of effect on gravity too, all sorts of stuff. So now, I can't remember who these people were. They have submitted this for peer review. A bunch of scientists have now come to the conclusion that another thing that would actually work in this scenario is thousands of microscopic wormholes. Now, wormholes are interdimensional tunnels through space that go from one place to another. And for example, theoretically, if you had a wormhole big enough to put a spacecraft through, you could go, several dozen light years in a few seconds, where that would take you several dozen years at the speed of light. And a lot of people think this is the way that we could create wormholes to travel through space. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know if the ETs are doing it this way. I don't know, but that's one of the theories. So these scientists, they've come to the conclusion that for this formula to be viable, there would have to be 10 quadrillion wormholes per cubic meter. That's 3 feet on a side. That would happen every second. They would be created and destroyed every second, basically at random. And believe it or not, that's considered within the realm of possibility. That's not, the scientists do not think that is would be unusual. I just think they're just grasping for straws. That's what I think. So they're trying to figure out something they don't know, and they can't figure out what's going on here. So do I know? No, I don't know either. I know what's going on either. But still, the fact of the matter is, no one will just say, "Well, we don't know," and that bothers me too. Big huge hole in the formula. 70% of the universe is dark matter. We've never seen dark matter. No one's ever seen it. We'll just fill it in. That's kind of bullshit too. How come people can't say we don't know? What is wrong with that? Because no one wants to. You're an expert. You're not supposed to not know, I guess. I keep talking about this stuff all the time. In 1900, they thought would be physically impossible for the human body to go faster than 45 miles an hour. They thought your body would collapse. Basically, like it'd be like G-force 7 now, which will actually collapse your body. But yeah, 45 miles an hour. That was only 125 years ago. I just want to point that out. Yeah, we don't know crap, folks. We don't know shit. This is, and people don't. Well, how come those ETs? How are they traveling faster than the speed of light? Well, we don't know, but they do. They are. There's all I hear is so many. Now we have on Wednesday, Marcus Louth is coming on, UK UFO researcher from the UK, a second appearance on this program. And we're going to talk. We'll talk a lot about this. There's so many people now, whistleblowers, that are coming forward that's saying the United States has at least 9. I think Hal Puthoff said 10 crashed ET spacecraft. Or actually, they're saying some of these things are not crashed. Matter of fact, it appears. I've heard a couple of people say that it appears that in a couple instances, they landed these aircraft and just walked away from them almost so that we could have them intact. I don't know if that's true or not. Nobody really does. But the fact of the matter is, apparently at least a couple of these things are not wrecked at all. We actually just have them, where some of them are in various states of decay, for lack of a better term, because they crashed. But there's Robert Lazar came out with this theory. That was in 1992, and this video is still on YouTube if you want to see it, of how these things actually fly. Because he said he was hired by the Defense Department to figure it out, and he says he did more or less figure it out, revolving something called element 115, which we now know is moscovium, but in 1992 it had not been discovered yet. And gravity waves, and that he says he knows how it works. But the other thing is too, and you have to understand this, and it's important to me that people understand this. We're dealing with countless different civilizations, and every single one of them is at a different stage of development. So, I mean, I have no idea how many we're talking about. Supposedly, the gray aliens from Zeta Reticuli have been around for 2 million years. Supposedly, they're 2 billion years ahead of us, which means now you think about what we've done in just the last 100 years. First of all, your iPhone isn't even 20 years old. It's not even 20 years old. We've only had electricity for 150 years, usable electricity for 150 years. So wind that forward, 10,000 years, see where we're at. I predicted that we will have atomic replication within 1 to 300 years. That's the thing they have on Star Trek that makes Captain Picard's Earl Grey tea. We're going to have that because it's the same concept as what we now call a 3D printer. It's on an atomic level. The other thing you have to understand is if we have that, it will scarcity will become a thing of the past. Anything you want, you'll be able to have. Gold, we can make it out of dirt, basically. So, how did I get started on that about this thing about dark matter? We don't know crap. We don't know anything. I'll tell you what we do know though. Here's a fact, and this is a fact. The summer box office at the movies in the United States was the worst it's been in 44 years since 1981. And John Nolte reported this in Breitbart this morning. Of the last 25 major motion pictures, or I don't know if the pictures are major, but the motion pictures released by major studios, every one of the last 25 is bombed. Every single one of them. And he brings this up, and it's really true. They're looking for all sorts of excuses. They're still talking about the pandemic. The movie stores are saying, well, we haven't got people back to the theaters, blah, blah, blah. Every single one of these movies suck. That's the reason people are going to go see them. And he uses a perfect example, this movie called Christie, and I think the actual real life woman's name was Christy Davis, that Sydney Sweeney portrayed. This is a female mixed martial arts boxer who, in the course of her career, figures out she's a lesbian. And so for this movie, they made Sydney Sweeney fat and pudgy. And who wants to see that? Why are you, if you're a man, why are you going to the movies? Why are you going? Because you want to see Sydney Sweeney, and she's freaking beautiful, and you want to see it. And so they made her fat and ugly, and on top of that, a lesbian too. And I never heard of this woman, the real life woman, before this movie came out. I never heard of her, so I don't care about her story. I mean, he's really absolutely right. Nobody cared about this movie. Nobody cared about the story. Nobody cared about the real person. Nobody wants to see Sydney Sweeney ugly. Nobody wants to see this, and nobody went. And this is like a perfect example, encapsulation of why people aren't going to the movies. Now, the last time I actually went to a theater, the wife and I went. This is before COVID, so it's like about 2019, I think. We went to the theater. I don't remember what we saw. It was okay. It was just okay. Nothing great, nothing bad. It was a comedy. That's all I remember. And we dropped $100. That's really great. That's terrific. That was pre-COVID and pre-inflation. $100. Okay, it was all right. You can sit home and Netflix, and you're paying $8 a month or 12 or whatever the hell it is. For a whole month of movies, and you can see a whole bunch of stuff. That's okay. Oh man, they've lost it. I mean, Nolte's absolutely right. This is crazy crap. They cannot come to terms with the fact that these movies are bad. They can't. He's absolutely correct. Absolutely okay. Correct. All right. New in world news, new DNA testing has shown that not only did Adolf Hitler have only one testicle, but that he probably had what was called what they call a micropenis. And if you read the British tabloids like I do for my own entertainment, you'll know they love the term micropenis. And technically, a micropenis is a male's penis that's less than 2 inches long. That's what, and they say that the DNA evidence of they took blood off of the couch where Adolf Hitler supposedly killed himself. Supposedly. I have to say that because I've qualified this in the past for up till recently. I was quite certain. I thought up to recently, I'll say this, there was more evidence to indicate that Hitler escaped to Argentina than he died in the bunker. But now some new evidence has come forward. A guy named Mark Felton, who's a military historian who does videos online, and he has come up with a very credible theory that maybe Hitler did kill himself in the bunker, but we know that wasn't his body that they burned outside the bunker in the ditch. We know that. That's been proven by DNA. But Felton thinks he knows where they buried that body, and other people do too, and it's highly plausible. It's on the other side of the garden. It's on the other side of that tract of land. And I think he's got a good point there. I think this might actually be the key to the whole thing. My thing is, and the thing is, you have to understand this. This is really true. This is not me. This is true. There's no physical evidence that Adolf Hitler died. None. We don't have a body. We don't have skull fragments. We have nothing. The Russians thought they had that stuff, and then in 2006 they tested it for DNA, and it wasn't Hitler. We have no physical evidence that Hitler's died. None. But Felton is trying to petition the German and Berlin civic government to unearth this plot of land, which is actually, it's a pauper's grave, basically. And he thinks they buried Hitler in this pauper's grave dig the bodies up to test them for DNA. And I think he's right. I think there's a good possibility they will find Hitler there. Which, in case you see, I'm open to changing my mind, man. I'm not so well, what's the word? Stuck on anything. I'm not. You know, I think Felton is the first good theory I've heard here about what happened to Hitler, which means he did actually die in the bunker. So, and that's fine, But the thing is, there's so many people who said they saw him. Oh, geez, him and Martin Bormann too. But the thing is, now we know. Now there, until recently, there was no proof that Martin Bormann, his secretary, died in the bunker either. But now we have definitive DNA evidence that the body they found at on the corner of this bridge a few days after that was actually Bormann's body. The DNA has proved it. So, yeah. So anyway, Hitler had a micropenis. I just thought you'd want to know that. And so I read the British tabloids, and this is kind of fascinating, actually, that young people in Britain have become kind of obsessed with American Thanksgiving. Now, it's not British Thanksgiving; it's American Thanksgiving. They don't celebrate our Thanksgiving in Britain, but a lot of younger people in Britain have started to do that, and the same day we do it. Don't know why. I have no idea what's going on over there. And finally, and this sounds, I don't know if I should end on this because this is actually pretty interesting. Google has announced they're making a $40 billion investment in building 3 AI data centers in Texas. Now, this is the reason. It's not just the money here. To have data centers, especially AI data centers, you need power. And one thing, the reason so many of these data centers are being built in Texas is because they have ample electrical power, and also they don't charge that much for it. The pricing of it's pretty reasonable. And on top of that, in terms of building data centers, they don't have a lot of, they're relatively light on regulation. It's like the perfect place to build a data center if you want to build a data center. But I've talked about this before. The amount of power that these data centers for AI are going to use, they're already using, there's an estimate that in just 5 years from now, by 2030, 12% of all the electricity in the United States will be used by AI. 12%, one eighth of it. And we can't build nuclear plants fast enough. Now, the Trump administration has fast-tracked building nuclear facilities. They have. They're trying to get out of the way. They're giving out loans to help these companies do it because it's a very expensive undertaking. And I would like to think they're not going to retract any of the safety regulations, but they're trying to retract the building regulations to let people do it too. We have, at this point, folks, we've figured this out. Well, actually, I shouldn't say we, the French have, because 80% of the power, electricity in France comes from nuclear power plants. They've never given up on this. We did. We stopped building these about 40 years ago. I don't think a single one's been built in 40 years. Microsoft has announced they're going to reopen 3 Mile Island plant, or one of the 2 reactors there anyway, the one that wasn't damaged. And a couple other plants that have been closed have been recommissioned. They're going to be started back up again, but no new plant has been built in 40 years. Meanwhile, the French have been building them, and they've been running their country off of them, and they have pretty much figured out every single problem anyone ever had with this whole scenario. One was, what do you do with the nuclear fuel? It's spent and has a half-life of 10,000 years. We were burying it. We've been burying a lot of it. They figured out how to reuse it as nuclear fuel. So it basically just dissipates. It doesn't, you don't have to do anything with it. They figured that out. They figured out a whole bunch of stuff. At this point, this is about the safest way you can generate power that's imaginable. And yet and finally, AOC finally said earlier this year, geez, maybe if we're going to if we're really that concerned about the climate, maybe we should pay some attention to nuclear power after all. Yeah, chick. Thank you. You figured that out, huh? It's like, first of all, I will say this again. There is no climate crisis. But even besides that, you don't want dirt in your air. The thing with fossil fuels isn't that it's going to uh, collapse society. It's dirty. That's the problem with it. It's like, who wants dirt? Who wants dirt in your air? Now we have to phase this stuff out. I mean, seriously, it's primitive. We're burning coal and oil to make electricity. That's kind of ridiculous. But right now, it's the best thing we've got, other than nuclear power, and that's the point. That's my very point. You know, there's only thing better than coal has an enormous amount of energy in it for what it is. It's a dirty, filthy rock product. It is, but it gets the job done quite well, actually, quite efficiently, but not as efficient as nuclear power. So the thing is, we're going to need electricity up the wazoo. It's just this is going to be unbelievable. And the thing, and I was thinking about this today. What we got going on here right now, this I'm bringing this all full circle to the whole quantum computing thing. It's sheer brute force. It's like the data centers we're building, the chips we're using more of them. They're faster, they're bigger. We're building bigger data centers, all to run AI, which is basically a friend of mine calls it advanced computing. He says there's nothing going on here that's unusual except that we've just brought everything up a notch, and he's right. It's sheer brute force. We figured out how to do this, so now we're stepping it up. You know, so and I have no problem with that at all. Except, we should have talked to Don about that, about the fact that there's, my prediction is that AI is going to eliminate quite a few jobs in the short term, at least, maybe permanently, because this is the first technology that actually does replace people. People said, well, in the past, you had technology that was replacing jobs. Classic example, ATMs. ATMs replace bank tellers, but then you need people to repair the ATM. So the jobs change, but the number of people involved is roughly the same. AI is the first technology ever that's actually going to actually replace people. You're going to have an AI robot in your factory that's hauling stuff around and adjusting equipment and doing all sorts of crap, and that robot replaces a person. And that robot does not need a vacation, does not need a break, it doesn't need to eat, and it doesn't need to get paid. So we're in for interesting times. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So I want to thank Don Zorrro again for joining us. Now, we have a whole week planned out here. Believe it or not, first time in about a month that we're finally ahead of schedule. We got things going on. Tomorrow, we got a double show. We got two guests. First, Michael Harrison's here. He's the founder and publisher of Talkers Magazine, the Bible of talk media in the United States. He's been on the show with you. There's various incarnations of the show I've done for the last 5 years. He's been on at least 7 or 8 times. And he's coming on because his band, Gun Hill Road, that's a psychedelic rock band from the 1950s. They're still running. They're still making albums. 50 years later, they have a new song out called Close My Ears, and we're going to play the music video, and he's going to talk about it. He's coming on by phone. That won't be video, but still, we'll have him on. And then Jarrett Knott is going to be here. This is a guy I've been trying to get on for quite a while. Matter of fact, we had him scheduled like a couple months ago, and something fell through. We had to change it. He's written 2 books, a series called Tiny Blunders, Big Disasters. And how this works is that his books are about little things in history that had enormous consequences. And here's one of my favorite examples, which I'm sure we'll talk to him about the fact that the guys who broke into the Watergate for the Republican National Committee to break into the office of the Democrat National Committee in 1972 for the Nixon campaign, they got caught because of a piece of tape they put over the lock on the door. That's the reason they got caught. So you take that little piece of tape out, and we probably wouldn't be talking about this. They would never have gotten caught. And also there's a whole bunch of ramifications regarding the conspiracy theories regarding that too, because there's a lot of people who think they wanted to get caught, but a tiny little piece of tape, and a guy named Frank Wills, the security guard, noticed it, and he called the police. And there you have history in motion. That's just one example. He's written 2 books about stuff like this. So I'm looking forward to talking to him about a whole bunch of these examples. It'll be interesting. As I said, on Wednesday, Marcus Louth from the UK, he'll be dialing in, UFO researcher and author. Excuse me, I got my nose itches. I got an itchy nose. Itchy nose. Just a man amusing myself. Just excuse me. But we'll be talking to him about all the latest going on in the UFO sphere. And on Thursday, Tim Conaway, our old friend, former executive editor of Hustler magazine, he will be here. Next Monday, we are doing a show on Monday only next week. And that's because, that's Thanksgiving week, but I've missed too many shows because I was ill. So we're going to do Monday, and then we'll come back. So we'll only be gone a week. Dr. Gilda Carl is going to be here. Her second appearance of the show. She wrote the book "Real Men Don't Go Woke." Delightful woman. We'll have a great talk with her. Kind of a good way to add to lead into the holiday there. And then we're taking the rest of next week off for the holidays. I want to thank Brittany for once again for giving me a fantastic haircut. That's Brittany Shears of Minneapolis. Hairstylist to the stars, I call her. And I want to thank you for watching. Can't do it without you, man. Really appreciate it very, very much. Good night, Uncle Donnie, wherever you are. And good night to you, wherever you may be. We'll see you tomorrow night, folks. Michael Harrison and Jared Knott. Take care.